Formula One is on fire, folks, and it's not just on the tracks. Red Bull, which seemed unbeatable at the start of the season, is now accusing McLaren of using illegal flexible front wings. Is this just another case of sore loser syndrome? Or is there really something suspicious going on with the papaya cars? Today, we're diving deep into this controversy that's shaking up the F1 paddock. We'll uncover what these flexible wings are, why they're so important, and whether McLaren is really bending the rules or if Red Bull is seeing things that aren't there. Get ready for a technical journey as we discuss regulations, FIA tests, team reactions, and of course how all of this could turn the championship battle upside down. And attention, the FIA has just made a statement on the matter. Will this change the game or just add fuel to the fire? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's your chance to join me because things are about to get interesting. Let's start by breaking down Red Bull's accusations. Christian Horner, the team principal, is not at all happy with what he calls very big differences in the front wings of McLaren and Mercedes. According to him, the way these wings are being used is completely different from the rest of the grid, but it was Helmut Marko who really added fuel to the fire. The Red Bull advisor got straight to the point and said, "The front wings of McLaren and Mercedes need to be analyzed." The timing of these accusations is interesting, isn't it? It comes just as McLaren starts to seriously threaten Red Bull's lead in the championship. Coincidence? Well, in F1, rarely is anything a coincidence. But what exactly is Red Bull alleging? In simple terms, they believe that the front wings of McLaren and Mercedes are flexing more than they should during races. This could give these cars an illegal aerodynamic advantage, allowing them to be faster on straights and more efficient in corners. Now, before we start pointing fingers, it's important to understand what the FIA has to say about all this. The rules on wing flexibility are quite clear, or at least they should be. The FIA conducts rigorous tests on the car's wings to ensure they don't flex beyond what's allowed. These tests involve applying specific loads to the wings and measuring how much they bend. If a wing passes these tests, technically, it's considered legal. And attention, everyone. The FIA has just released a hot off-the-press statement about this controversy. According to them, all front wings are currently in compliance with the 2024 regulations, but they're not sitting idle. Since the Belgian GP, the FIA has been collecting additional data during free practice sessions using special cameras to observe the dynamic behavior of the wings. This study will continue at least until Singapore to ensure that all teams are analyzed on different types of tracks. This is where things get complicated. McLaren and Mercedes passed the FIA tests. Their cars were deemed legal. So why is Red Bull making so much noise? Well, this is where F1's gray area comes into play. Teams are masters at finding loopholes in regulations. It's possible that McLaren and Mercedes have found a way to make their wings pass the FIA's static tests, but still flex more than expected when the car is in motion on the track. The FIA itself acknowledges that front wings are a challenge to regulate, as aerodynamic load patterns vary greatly between teams. They're assessing the situation with medium and long-term thinking, but there are no plans for short-term measures. It's a cat-and-mouse game between the teams and the regulators, something quite typical of F1. So, for now, it seems McLaren is on the right side of the law. But as we know, in F1, rules are always evolving. Will we see changes in testing in the future? And how is McLaren reacting to all this? Well, Zak Brown, the team's CEO, is not at all impressed with Red Bull's accusations. In fact, he seems to be enjoying the whole situation. Brown took a jab by suggesting that Red Bull is missing Adrian Newey, the aerodynamics genius who recently left the team. But Brown didn't stop there. He also mentioned Red Bull's recent high-profile departures, including Rob Marshall, who ironically now works for McLaren. Brown suggests that these staff changes have destabilized Red Bull. Of course, McLaren vehemently denies any wrongdoing. They claim their car is 100% legal and has passed all FIA tests. The team attributes their performance improvement to hard work and legitimate upgrades they've brought to the car. Other teams are watching this battle with great interest. Ferrari, for example, has also expressed interest in discussing the matter with the FIA. It seems no one wants to be left behind if there's an advantage to be gained or contested. And this is where things get really interesting for the championship. With McLaren breathing down Red Bull's neck, every millisecond counts. If flexible wings are really giving McLaren an advantage, this could be a game changer in the title fight. But if Red Bull's accusations are unfounded, could this be seen as a destabilization tactic? Let's take a break from this war of words and dive a bit deeper into the science behind it all. After all, what are these blessed flexible wings and why are they so important? Imagine this. You're driving your car at 300 km/h. Don't try this at home, folks, and suddenly need to make a turn. What do you want? Downforce, lots of downforce. This is where wings come in. They push the car against the ground, allowing drivers to take corners at speeds that defy physics. But here's the trick. On straights, you want less drag to achieve higher speeds. This is where flexibility comes into play. If a wing can bend a little on the straights, reducing drag, and then return to its original shape in corners, you have the best of both worlds. It's as if the car had a secret superpower, changing shape as needed. Cool, right? Well, the FIA thinks so too, and that's why there are such strict rules about how much wings can flex. But folks, now let's talk numbers, because at the end of the day, that's what defines a championship, right? Since the Miami GP, when McLaren started to show its claws, the points gap to Red Bull has melted away. We're talking about an advantage that was over 100 points and is now down to a mere 8. And it's not just in the Constructors' Championship that things are heating up. Our friend Lando Norris is breathing down Verstappen's neck. The gap that was once 121 points is now down to 62. Okay, it's still a good lead, but if this pace continues, this explains why Red Bull is so nervous, doesn't it? They're watching their dominance slip through their fingers and are desperate to understand how McLaren made this performance leap. It's as if McLaren found a hidden nitro button in the car. And look at the irony. Red Bull, which for years was the terror of the FIA with its technical innovations, is now running to the same FIA asking for verifications. As they say, the tables have turned, haven't they? In the end, this controversy reminds us why we love F1 so much. It's a sport where milliseconds make a difference, where ingenuity is as important as driver skill. Whatever the outcome of this dispute, one thing is certain. This year's championship battle just got even more exciting. Red Bull, which seemed unbeatable, is now on the defensive. McLaren, rising from the ashes, is showing it has the claws, or wings, to fight. In the coming days and weeks, all eyes will be on the FIA. Their decisions could shape not only the rest of this season, but potentially the future of aerodynamics in F1. And what do you think will happen? Will McLaren be able to maintain its advantage? Will Red Bull regain its dominant form? Or will we see another team emerge in the middle of all this confusion? Don't forget to leave your predictions in the comments. If you liked the video, that like is always welcome. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what are you waiting for? There's a lot more F1 content coming your way. See you next time, folks.